Welcome everyone to the Ordinary Council meeting of the Wellington Shire for the 5th of December 2023. Members of the public gallery should note that Council records and publishes Council meetings via YouTube to enhance the accessibility of Council meetings to the broader Wellington community. These recordings are also archived and may be published on Council's website for viewing by the public or used for publicity or information purposes. At the appropriate times during the meeting, members of the gallery may address the Council, at which time their image, comments or submissions will be recorded. Members of the public who are not in attendance at the Council meeting but who wish to communicate with the Council via the online web form should lodge their questions or comments early in the meeting to ensure that their submissions can be dealt with at the end of the meeting. Please could gallery visitors, councillors and invited online attendees ensure that mobile phones and other electronic devices are turned off or in silent mode for the duration of the meeting. Wellington Shire Council acknowledges our offices are located on the traditional lands of the Gunai-Kurnai Nation. We pay our deep respects to their elders, past, present and future, and acknowledge their ongoing cultural and spiritual connections to their land and waters. We have no apologies tonight. Do we have any declarations of conflict of interest? No, I do. I actually have a conflict with item 13.1, which is the quick response grants, because I am the chairman of the Big Blokes Barbecue that received a grant from council to run their event this year to cover the hall cost. So I'll exclude myself when we come to item 13.1. To have someone to do item 3.1, adoption of minutes of the previous council meeting. Councillor Wood.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that Council adopt the minutes and resolutions of the Ordinary Council meeting of the 21st of November 2023.
And seconded by Councillor Stevens. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Happy with that, Councillor Wood? Item 4, business arising from previous meetings, we have none. Item 5, acceptance of late or urgent items, we have none. Item 6, notices of motion, we have none. Item 7.1, outstanding petitions, we have one, but we will be responding to that at next meeting. Item 8, invited addresses, presentations or acknowledgements. Do we have any? Councillor McKenzie.
Thank you, Mayor. On Friday, December 1, I had the honour of representing Wellington Shire at the 7 News, Weekly Times and Sofitel Community Achievement Awards Australia. It was over the moon that two organisations made the finals, being PabFab Yarram and A Better Life for Foster Kids Inc. of Sale. PabFab, owned by Cherie and Paul Wilson, are an engineering and fabrication business which started in 2015 and were finalists in the category of Business Achievement Award. Cherie and Paul have an unwavering dedication to empowering our First Nation people and rehabilitated individuals, providing employment and training. By actively collaborating with local councils, government bodies and Indigenous support organisations, they are catalysing transformation in the region. Their charitable spirit shines through donations and support for school programs and fostering inclusivity and cultural awareness. When I caught up with both Cherie and Paul to congratulate them on being finalists, they advised that next year they aim to employ a further 4 First Nation people, which is a testament to their value proposition of supporting and providing a better future for those most vulnerable. Unfortunately, PabFab didn't receive the final award. However, in Wellington and more importantly Yarram, they are winners to us and wish them all the very best in the future. A Better Life for Foster Kids is very well known throughout Sale and the Shire. Heather Baird started this non-for-profit organisation back in 2014 and was in fact a foster child herself, so knows only too well the effects this has on our youth. When I caught up with Heather, I asked her insights on foster care and her reply was heartbreaking. The rate of foster children in the Victorian system is around 9%. However, within Wellington, it's a staggering 14%. And what was sobering was her comment that Wellington is now experiencing the 7th generation of families on the dole. When we consider that Wellington is the 4th worst council for domestic violence as a community, we certainly have work to do. However, on a positive finish, A Better Life for Foster Kids received the award of Regional Services, A huge congratulations to Heather and her team of volunteers and from all within Council. To BAVFAB and A Better Life for Foster Kids, we thank you for your community service and support for those most vulnerable. A special mention must go out to the Rochester Community House, who not only won the award for connecting communities, they also won the People's Award. And for that, Rochester has, and are still going through these times, was well received on the night. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mackenzie. I would like to do acknowledgement just to the recent weather event we had. Unfortunately, we as a community had to go through floods again with the extreme rainfall we had. I'd just like to acknowledge the great volunteers that we have in the community, the SES, our emergency services for the great work they do, and also our council team for going beyond when they're out in the middle of the night making sure our residents are safe. We've come through this quite well again with a resilient community, and I really do thank all the volunteers and everyone that makes our community safe. So well done again, team, and keep up the great work. Thank you. Item 9, questions on notice. We have none. Item 10, Delegates Report. Do we have any? No. Item 11.1, Assembly of Council Report. Do we have someone to move that, please?
Yeah, I'm happy to move
Councillor
that,
Marr.
Mayor. I move that Council note and receive the attached Assembly of Councillor records for the period 13th of November 2023 to 26th of November 2023.
And seconded by Councillor Wood. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Happy with that, Councillor Marr?
I am happy with that. Thank you.
Item 11.2, Appointment of Committees and Delegates 2023-2024. Someone to move that, please.
I'm also happy to move that,
Councillor
Mayor.
Marr.
Thank you. I move that councillors be formally appointed to council committees in accordance with the Register of Council Committees and Advisory Groups 2023 to 2024.
And seconded by Councillor Rossetti. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Councillor Marr.
I'd just like to inform everyone that councillors have a number of committees of council and advisory groups upon which they sit. This is over and above our regular council meetings. The attachment provides the name of the committee, the purpose, and the current councillors who sit on those committees and how often. And it's certainly interesting reading and will enlighten everyone as to what extra work we do. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Marr. Item 12.1, Quarterly Capital Report. Someone to move that, please.
Yes, Mayor.
Councillor
I'm
Stevens.
happy to move that. I'd like to move that Council approve changes to the 2023-2024 adopted Capital Works budget of $5,904,052, resulting in an adjusted Capital Works budget of $48,596,057, as described below. 1. Approve the budget changes to the current adjusted Capital Works budget 2023-2024, as shown in attachment 12.11, and 2. Remove projects that are to be deferred or removed for reasons as per attachment 12.12. Thank you,
And
Mayor.
someone to second that? Councillor Wood, I think, by B's whisker. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Stevens.
As Council will be aware, we obviously adopt a total financial budget for the year, and then each quarter we have a review of the budget, and in particular with CapEx Works, if there is any projects that are to be added, changed, have the value adjusted, we need to formally approve that. And if you look at the lists attached to this agenda item, Mayor, you'll see there are a number of reasons why projects have either been adjusted or deferred or had to be varied. There was several where there's been slightly increased costs. There are several projects that have suddenly had to be performed because of the very circumstances you just referred to, Mayor, with the flooding, because of course this is the second flooding incident we've had in the space of a few weeks. So that there's a number of reasons why we've had to adjust CapEx Works, and so this is just the formal process to complete that program, and all those items, as I said, are listed in the attachment to the agenda. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Stevens. Item 12.2, Asphalt Urban Streets Tender Award. Someone to move that. Councillor Tatterson.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move that. I move that Council adopt the recommendations contained in the attached confidential tender evaluation report of the Council meeting agenda for contract 2024-040 Asphalt Resheeting of Urban Streets 2023-24 annual program, and the information contained in the confidential attachment contract 2024-040 Asphalt Resheeting of Urban Streets 2023-24 annual program and designated confidential under section 3.1 confidential information of the Local Government Act 2020 by the General Manager Built and Natural Environment on the 15th of November 2023 because it relates to the following grounds. G2. Private commercial information being information provided by a business, commercial or financial undertaking that, if released, would unreasonably expose the business, commercial or financial undertakings to disadvantage. B. Designated confidential information under section 3.1 confidential information of the Local Government Act 2020, except that once this recommendation has been adopted, the name of the successful tenderer can be made.
And seconded by Councillor Crossley. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Before I go back to Councillor Tatterson, I'd like to announce the successful tenderer as Cranes Asphalting and Bitumen Sealing Proprietary Limited. Well done. Councillor Tatterson.
Thank you, Mayor. This asphalt resheeting program is something that Council's undertaken over the last 4 or 5 years, where they're asphalting some streets that have previously been stone sealed. Our IDM, our standard for streets, generally requires asphalt for full urban constructed streets. However, due to financial constraints in the past, some asphalt streets have been stone sealed, and what the council reports have said is that by asphalting we get a longer life and less disruption to the community, and it's really appreciated the higher service standard. And over the life of the asset, it doesn't actually cost us anymore. So this is a program that's been really well received by people in the community that live in streets that have formerly been stone sealed and now been returned to asphalt.
Thank you, Councillor Tatterson. Item 12.3, proposed sale of road in 16 Willow Court in Sale. Someone to move that, please. Councillor Crossley.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that one, pursuant to section 114 of the Local Government Act 2020, section 206, bracket 1, including clause 3 of schedule 10 and section 223 of the Local Government Act 1989, Council resolve to advertise its intention to discontinue and to sell the road abutting the rear of 16 Willow Court Street, in sale by private treaty, and 2, Council place a public notice of the proposal in a local newspaper and serve a copy of the notice on abutting property owners and statutory authorities, and 3, Council appoint 3 councillors, being Councillor By, Councillor Tatterson, Councillor Crossley, plus an alternate representative being Councillor Stevens, to form the Road Discontinuance Committee, 16 Willow Court, that is established by Council under section 223, bracket 1, bracket B, bracket I of the Local Government Act 1989, to consider written submissions, objections, and to hear any person who in their written submission under section 223 of the Local Government Act 1989 have requested that they be heard in support of their submission, objection, and 4, in the event of no objections, Council resolved to discontinue the road abutting the rear of 16 Willow Court Sale and place a notice in the Victorian Government Gazette. And if I'm you're able to have the rest as read. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Crossley. And seconded by Councillor Marr. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Councillor Crossley.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a section of the road, or section,
that has been applied to be discontinued as a road is a non-maintained road under the Council's road management plan. It does, however, have been used as access and provides vehicle access for services to service a power pole and sewerage and pumps, and the location with the road reserve, and the road provides pedestrian connection to Macmillan Park. But having said that, if we scroll down to the map, the land that has been discussed to be acquired is leaving a suitable access to both provide access to the Macmillan Park and also for the authorities to seek access to their facilities. So on that provision, it seemed a reasonable request. But as we said, under the Act, we've formed a committee if required, if adjoining property owners or other people need to be heard in respect to that request.
Thank you, Councillor Crosley. Item 13.1, quick response grants July till October 2023. I do have a conflict, so I will remove myself from the room and I'll hand over to the Deputy Mayor to run the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. And have it noted that the Mayor has left the room. We are at item 13.1, quick response grants. Do I have a councillor to move this motion?
Yes, Deputy Mayor. I'd like to move that Council note the information regarding applications received under the Quick Response Grant Scheme, GRGS, for the period July 2023 to October 2023, as listed in attachment 13.11.
Thank you, Councillor Ripper, and Councillor Crosley has agreed to second. Do I have anyone in opposition to this item? If not, it's carried. Councillor Ripper.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'd like to deliver good news and financial good news this time. We have had 32 applications who have been supported and approved, and the amount that was approved was $70,146.84. The Quick Response Grants aims to fulfil community needs by providing a quick turnaround for funding, provides an opportunity for the community to access funding outside the community grants timeline. The Quick Response Grant supports the delivery of projects that demonstrate positive impacts on the wider Wellington community. Eligible projects submitted under the program are assessed within 2 weeks. Not-for-profit community groups operate in the Wellington Shire can apply for up to $2,500. Up to $500 is available in an individual sponsorship category, and up to $1,500 is available in the terms, in the teams and community groups category. We have Man's Beach Improvement Committee, Man's Beach Family Fishing Competition, $2,300. Stratford Tennis Club at the Pine Lodge Mower Cage, $2,500. I visit that area quite regularly, and where they store their mower is underneath the building, which is timber, and it has, unfortunately, their ride-on mower. Someone else seems to think they would like it better than the Pine Lodge group. So they're going to put a cage, they will build a cage underneath, a steel cage for that. Dargo Flat Cemetery Trust, Ashes Interment Area, $2,500. The Newry Hall, organising social badminton and table tennis, $1,502.41. Hayfield Community Resource Centre for a Women's Health Forum, $2,088. Yarram Neighbourhood House, Community Photo Pop-Up and Barbecue, 16 days of activation against gender-based violence, $2,500. Maffra Neighbourhood House, Maffra Community Expo. Community Expo in an event to showcase all groups, activities and services that are available in Maffra. And the Sale Pistol Club Victorian State Title Selection Match, $2,500. The state selection match is a competition of all over Victoria to compete in the International Practice Shooting Confederation match. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ripper. And we await the Mayor to take his seat. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Item 14, further gallery and online comments. Any online comments, Mr CEO?
None, Mayor.
That way I'll open up to the gallery. So if there's anyone in the gallery that would like to come forward and address the council, you have 3 minutes. If you can just state your name.
Hello, my name's Christine Timmerman, and you've got an email from me that...
Yes, Christine, all councillors have got that email with that slides.
So on page 1 is the Environment Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act. And basically, this is the federal government. And what they're trying to do, their purpose is to stop people doing, I don't know, hotels on the Great Barrier Reef, etc. But basically, they oversee major development and construction. And we're having that happen right here in our little area, just in Gillingdale at the moment. If you look at page 2, you'll see the Protected Matters report for the Gillingdale Wind Farm, which brings up a total of 237 protected matters. Now, a protected matter is an item that is within 5 kilometres of that construction. So basically, if I wanted to put a wind turbine just out there, or anything else, a solar farm, a major construction, a golf course, anything like that, the federal government will have a look at it and say, what do we see within 5 kilometres of that construction? And why is it 5 kilometres? Well, a good example of that today is you've got water coming up here. And where does all that water go? Hydrology is a big concern about this type of thing, as is migrating birds and animals. I mean, we're all aware at the moment that the koalas are crossing roads and wandering around. Everything moves. So the federal government is very aware of that. So 237 matters. Our Ramsar wetland down there only counts as 1. So when you see that number at 237, it's 237 separate things, like a powerful owl, or a Ramsar wetland, or it can even be a heritage site. So if you look on the next page, to give you a sort of a concept of how this works with the federal government, the Gillingdale Wind Farm has 13 turbines and 237 protected matters. And if you have a look down the list there, you'll see that most of the other wind farms have much smaller protected matters because of the location of where they're being built. And this is the issue that we're talking about here in this environment, and especially the wildlife corridor that I watch and look after, is location. Like in real estate, location, 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 as in all of these constructions, it's the same thing. And in actual fact, I've given you a little graph there on the next page, so you can actually see the differences. Now, you may look at the Star of the South and go, why? But that's a very different case. And I wanted to add that one in there to say that that's something that, it's new. We don't know a lot of things about that. It's out in the ocean, so that's why it would have hit a high amount of protected matters. And also, the other thing is, I've got a little asterisk there, because the wind farms I chose along here, not all of them are built. Some of them are currently under construction, and as you know, there's always a variance in the building, and as the structure of the wind farms change, the amount of wind farms, the amount of turbines will change. And at the moment, say Liverpool, for instance, originally asked for 200, now they're probably down to 185, but that's because turbines are getting larger, so they're putting less in. But what we're really looking at here is the amount of hits in the environment they get. So this is basically all the things they should be concerned about when they do this building. So I did add Star of the South in there because I think that is a unique thing that we're all looking at. But I just wanted to make that point that it is a very unusual thing to have 13 turbines and have so many environmental hits, and you can compare those. So the next page I've got along here is just some of the laws and legislation that when people come to the council, and when I certainly talk to people who build wind farms, I ask them if they know those things. And if they don't know their things, who's advising them? And that they should actually go and have a little look at some of these laws and legislations. Because whenever you build something, especially a wind farm or a solar farm or any renewable, you really need to consider what impact you're having. And if you're not aware of the Victorian Government's Biodiversity 2037, you need to go back and have a read of it. You need to see how your structure fits in with how we, and as you know, laws are created by communities, and it's the community's feelings and understandings that create laws. And this is a sense of how the community feels about the environment. So you need to fit your activities within those structures. The other really interesting thing, and this is the next one, this is called the Strategic Management Plan. Now this is Strategic Management Prospects. Now this is the Victorian State Government. So this is all their work, none of these numbers are mine. I'm really pleased that they have all these computing things and I just have to log in and pull them out. None of this work is mine. If you have a look at the Gilliandale Wind Farm, it has 5 strategic management prospect areas within 5 kilometres of it. Now, that area is a small amount, they're different sizes. So for instance, if you know that area really well, the area from Port Albert all the way down to Barry Beach, that whole coast is one area, one unit. But the area just behind it, where we get a lot of our floodwater from, is considered a different area because there are different flora and fauna in that area. And it's based on flora, fauna, the vegetation, etc. When you look at the 5 areas that are within 5 kilometres of this development, you'll see for Victoria the amount of vulnerable, endangered and critically endangered species in that area. Just another example of how high and how important this environment is that we're facing just in this particular area. I'm quite sure that if I took this document or certainly the SMP, but although Liverpool's in New South Wales, and did the same thing, the Liverpool wind farm, I would not get the same results. These results are unusually high. The Synergy Wind is actually aware of that at the moment, and they are now awaiting their environmental report. The environmental report will come from the federal government and will tell them what they now have to do in the way of surveys, etc. So what they haven't done now, they're going to get some notice on that. It should have happened really recently, and then sometime after the 12th of December, they'll be required to make that public for 30 days. Hopefully through the council, we'll see it here as well. But you'll see the extent of the requirement that the federal government now says, because you've hit the number 237, now we're going to tell you what you now need to do to ensure that this area will be safe and protected. And they're quite extensive in what the federal government actually asks them to do. So I hope you enjoyed that little handout that I just gave you and gives you a comparison between other wind farms and why this one in particular is different and raises a lot of red flags, even at the federal government level. So I hope you enjoyed that.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor and Councillors. I'd just like to say that...
Could you just state your name, please,
sorry?
just so our
Yes.
great secretary can...
Sorry. My name's Graham James. I live in Gilliandale at the old Gilliandale Hotel. It's not only here that you've got some extra wetlands. Where they're proposing to put turbines 1 and 2 in the Gilliandale wind farm is again this year under water. They're proposing to put them essentially on the Bird's Drain, and this area, whenever you get a rain event, goes underwater, and in order to build these turbines, they will have to build up the access tracks at least a metre, etc. There will be problems in this area from a point of view. You don't know when it's going to rain. There's a lot of construction work that's got to be done, and this will flow out into the 9 Mile and out into Corner Inlet. It's not good. I've also been going through the noise predictions, etc., background noise. It beggars belief. It could not be more shonky, and that's all I need to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Graham. Is there anyone else in the gallery that would like to come forward and speak to the councillors? If you just come forward, state your name and have 3 minutes to address the councillors.
Good afternoon, my name is Thelma Keeley and I'm from Stratford. I've got two wee things I'd like to pick up on. One of the things was about the wheelie bins that you put in today's paper. Can I say something about that, please? How many wheelie bins are you actually removing? Why are you removing bins? I've got a perfectly good bin, and I'm sure there's hundreds of people, I don't know how many live in Yorkshire, I'm sure there's a lot of people who've got bins, so why are you wasting the money? And if you're going to really do it, I would like you to put it in the papers. How many are you taking away? How many are you replacing? And what are you going to do with the wheelie bins? I absolutely think, I think this is a complete waste of money. I really do, and I think it's something you have to consider. You're wasting a lot of money when people are finding things very hard. And I just thought, what a blatant waste. Okay? I don't like doing this. I'm a nagger, but I don't like doing it in the crowd. This one is very dear to my heart. Jill will understand where I'm coming from. A few weeks ago, the alpaca in the paddock across the road from me was attacked horrifically by 2 dogs. These dogs had been running around in Stratford. There was a notice on the Stratford notice board to say, warning, 2 dogs on the run. These two dogs ripped this alpaca to pieces. This alpaca was 20 years old, and he's been in the paddock maybe 6-7 years. He was in with a cow. I feed these 2 animals on a daily basis, and I love them very much. And unfortunately, I was on holiday and got home the day after. We have a video, and all we could see was the feet of people, the police, the warden. The 2 dogs went, and they were very vicious looking, and then they came back and they passed our gate. I could see in the paddock when we went through the video, we saw the police coming. They took a long time to come. My neighbour next door to me went out to try and do something with the dogs and the alpaca, throwing just stones. Anyway, Larry, as he was called, and he means nothing to you, but I would like you to realise what this death has cost me, the owner of the alpaca, and the cow. You know, that cow is not the same cow anymore. He sees the dogs and he's scared shit. If you look at the Stratford notice boards, there is so many dogs coming on saying, oh, found dogs. And they're not wee puppy dogs, that's found dogs, lost dogs. This is happening too often. What the hell are you doing about these dogs that are running around wild? These 2 dogs, I believe, had attacked an old man and attacked his dog and killed the cat. That's hearsay, but I heard it from good people, but I'm just telling you. It took the Shire, I think, nearly 2 hours to come. The ranger, he was on another job chasing a cow in the motorway, and I understand it's important. Anyway, the 2 dogs were caught by the chap that owned the alpaca, and he tied it really tight to his fence. He said if I had a gun, I would have bloody killed them. And I tell you, if I was here, I would have done it, not even with a gun. Anyway, what happens, along comes the ranger, and I had spoke to him the day after to say, was the alpaca dead when you got there, not realising it took him hours to get there. He actually went up to the dogs. I don't know if he was checking to see if they had chips in the back. They had collars on. And what does he do? He bends down, takes the dogs that were tied up and gives them to the owner. What the hell are you doing giving back dogs that kill? That could have been a child. We've had alpacas killed before in the paddocks. There was Gavin, who does our Shakespeare. He lost 4 alpacas and 2 goats, and he fought for 5 years. And he told me himself, 5 years he fought with the Shire to get those dogs put down. And the only reason they were put down is the family couldn't afford to pay $50,000 to make a secure area. I want to say, you make all these laws, and I don't think you stick to your laws. This great law about keep cats in, that's a waste of time. That's not happening. And I tell you, I can give you 6 people who've got cats that wander the streets. But come on, if you're supposed to be a good shire, you're a small shire. As you know, I've been here before and I come from Glasgow, and you've got nothing on Glasgow. But at least Glasgow sticks to the rules they make. Please don't let these dogs wander around and kill animals, because one day it's going to be your animal or your child, and what you're going to say, oh, we knew it was going to happen. That's what happens when people want traffic lights somewhere. You've actually got to have a child dead before you do anything. So please, I'm begging as a human being, don't give a lot of fuss with these dogs. Do something about it and let us know in the papers. Am I annoying you? Sorry? Am I doing something wrong?
No, not at all. I'm just giving the CEO an update on that situation that happened.
Oh, right. Yeah. It was horrible. I love the animal so much. You know, we nearly lost them a year before, and we fought hard to keep them, and a bloody 2 dogs massacred. And do you know how horrific that was?
I own a pet as well, Del, so totally take on board exactly what you're saying. If you could please give your details to Dean, so we can definitely follow up with some answers for you.
Please, but can I ask you as a council? You seem to. I don't know who's the mayor. Are you the mayor? Are you the mayor? Right?
Correct.
You've been given another position with the council. I don't know what it was about, but you know, come on, you're a lovely area. You've been voted in 3 years in a row or something. So you're a good mayor. Please, let's fix the rules that you make and stick to them. I'm asking you, and I'm going for cats, dogs, anybody that's breaking rules, please do something about it.
Thanks, Del.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. If you could Dean your details, that'd be great.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the gallery? If not, we'll declare the meeting closed at 5:37. Thank you, everyone.